here on Kiwi.
You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Well, he's an extraordinary man. His name is Rob Mathews, and he's won 29 international gold medals, set 22 world records, and been awarded the MBE by the Queen for services to sport for the disabled. He's also skied cross-country in Norway, cycled across the UK and Europe, and driven a racing car, plays golf, football and cricket. You just might say, well, that's pretty good. That's rather extraordinary. But why extra extraordinary? Well, it's because Rob Mathews is blind, and he's just written a new book called Running Blind, the fastest man in the world. And he's in the Kiwi studio with us this morning. Good morning to you, Rob.
Morning, Glenn.
Lovely to have you in. Well, that's a list that anyone would be proud of. That's a lifetime of achievements in there already.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I just like I just love challenges. I love sport. I love doing different things, and sport, the football and the cricket and the skiing. All I started doing them before I started running, and they kind of were like an entree into the running. And I got into the running after I'd lost my sight when I was 20.
Now, so you lost your sight at 20, so you weren't born blind?
No, I wasn't. I was born with a degenerative eye condition, which basically, there was 50-50 whether my father passed it on or not. My two sisters are fully sighted,
yeah,
and I was the only one to have that faulty gene. And I was able to see pretty well. I could never see in the dark. I used to eat lots of carrots because I heard that helped, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And it just gradually deteriorated, really slowly. But I suppose looking back, it was quite quick. But I didn't really notice it going until I suddenly realised that I can't see car lights as well, and can't see print as well, and then all the useful vision had gone by the time I was 20.
Now, at that point, some people would say, right, well, okay, I'm now in the situation. I will probably take it a little bit easier, and I will restrict myself to activities that I know that I can do. But you decided to get out and start running. How do you do that?
Well, I don't like to place limitations on anything. Just because I'm blind, it doesn't mean I'm less capable, and that is, I guess, been the attitude for my life. It's too easy to sit back and restrict yourself. I wanted to raise the bar, and running enabled me to raise myself above blindness, I suppose, and not let it be a disability and stop me from doing anything. And I met a Canadian who won the 1500 metres in the 1980 Paralympics, and I thought, well, if he can do it, why shouldn't I be able to? I did a bit of running when I was at school, but I tended to run into things as much as get around.
Because I think the question first of all people would be, okay, well, so practically, how do you get about running?
Okay, well, when I started, it was very much experimentation. The Canadian didn't have a rope or anything. His guide just touched his elbow. But we experimented. We used catapult elastic and longer bits of rope, and we eventually settled on a 15 centimetre piece of rope with a loop at each end, and then you move your arms in synchronisation, much like a three-legged race.
Yeah.
And the more synchronised you are, the more relaxed, and that you basically with a lot of my guides, most of my guides, I feel as if I'm running free.
Right.
And, obviously I have to place a lot of confidence in my guides and know that I'm not going to run into anything. And likewise, they're going to know that I'm going to do what they want me to do at a split second's notice.
Yeah.
And, I've had very few accidents.
Now, they say that you're the fastest man in the world. Does that mean that you've run the fastest 100 metres? And
no, I held the world records for the 800 metres and the 1500 metres. I've set 22 world records, as you said in your intro, and no one's come close to my 1 minute 59 for the 800.
Wow. How does that compare to the fully abled?
Well, the fully sighted runner at that time, Sebastian Coe, ran 1:41, so I'd have been 120 metres behind him.
Yeah.
Or 18 seconds.
And so you'd be basically blowing away most sighted people in those races.
And it's funny, when I set my 1500 world record, there were people stepping off the track when I was coming up to overtake them because they didn't want to be beaten by a blind man.
Absolutely amazing. And then now you've extended that to cycling as well.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the stepping stone to cycling was actually the triathlon. I did the World Triathlon Championships on the Gold Coast last year, and I won a silver medal, and that was the first time I'd competed for New Zealand, and so I was really proud to wear the silver fern after competing for Great Britain all the years, and now, this is my home. I've married a Kiwi, and that was such a proud moment to win the silver medal for New Zealand, and now I'm really dedicating myself to the cycling. I went to Nelson last week where I set the third fastest time in the world this year for 25 kilometres time trial. Is that in a
velodrome?
No, it's on the road.
On the road?
Yeah, so I obviously have someone in front of me who steers the tandem and pedals as hard as I do.
Right.
And I've got a really good chance of going to the World Championships in Colombia next year. And if I do well there, then London 2012 Paralympics, competing for New Zealand in my first Paralympic Games, which will be absolutely incredible. And I know I'm not as young as I used to be, but I really think I've got a really good chance of getting there and doing well.
Where does your motivation come from? I mean, how do you where does it all come from to get up in the morning and go take on these sports?
I don't know. It's I taking the easy option is too easy for me, if you like, and I don't like taking the easy option. I'm motivated to try and improve myself all the time, to just see if I can go faster and faster, and both short term and long term, and I know I'm capable of so much more, and I think that's partly where it comes from, and I suppose the fact that I've always had a positive attitude to life. My cup's always been half full.
Despite the fact that you've had your fair share of tragedies in your life as well.
I have, yeah. I mean, losing my sight was the least one, really. The death of my first wife 6 years ago. One day she was fine, next day she died of a blockage in her brain, and that was by far the hardest obstacle I've had to face. And I realised that it's not what happens to you; it's what you do about it.
Do you sometimes stop and go, "Hang on, why me? What's going on?"
Well, I of course I did that with the sight thing when that was going, but self-sympathy is it's crap, but and ditto when Kath died, I did think, why me? I was angry for a while. I did struggle to come to terms with it, but running was a great release for me. It's really great for relieving stress anyway. Any sort of exercise is great for relieving stress, and I used the Athens Paralympics in 2004 as a goal, a stepping stone to, I suppose, rebuilding my life. And I'd love to say that I won a gold there, but I was just pleased and proud to step onto the track and run in her honour. And I've rebuilt my life from there. 2006, I was offered the opportunity, or was invited to come to New Zealand for the first time, and stepped off the plane, and I still can't believe I'm here. And a few days later, I walked into the Soul Bar in the Viaduct and bumped into this gorgeous curly-haired redhead.
Yeah.
And during the next 18 months, we got married, bought a house, and my son Thomas was born 18 months to the day after we met.
Wow.
And he's now 2 years old. And
so the next thing you know, you're on a new chapter in your life.
Yeah, and I'm looking at starting to write the sequel to Running Blind, but
well, I mean, first things first, Running Blind's only just been released, and it's another first. I mean, you set many firsts and you set many records. This one has been released in Braille at the same time as the print.
That's right. The foundation got together with HarperCollins and made it so that the Braille version could come out at the same time as the print version, and that's the first time in New Zealand publishing history that an adult book has come out in print and Braille at the same time.
Yeah. And there's for the sighted copy, you've got Braille on the front as well.
That's right. Yeah. It says Running Blind in my name.
How do you find New Zealand? Is New Zealand a friendly place for for people who aren't sighted or haven't got their full sight?
Well, I mean, I just love it here. I love the sensation of the place, the how friendly the people are, and being able to run, in nice conditions along Tamaki Drive. That's one of my favourite places for running. I love all that, and the coffee's brilliant. You can't get a decent cup of coffee in England.
No, I hear that.
Yeah. There's obviously some things that maybe aren't as good. You can't get Braille bank statements, for instance. But those. I guess that's a minor thing compared to all the pros surrounding coming here.
Well, it's an extraordinary story. Rob Mathews, Running Blind is the name of the book, and the stories and the ongoing chapters you'll find in there, and of course, by the sounds of it, a new book on the way. Rob Mathews, thanks very much.
Thanks very much.